Well, I think the important thing is to see and assess the impact of the sanctions packages that have been approved so far, and there is a willingness to go further across the European Union. We're all appalled at what we're witnessing in terms of continued Russian aggression in Ukraine, and we will use whatever lever we have at our disposal to exert maximum pressure on Putin and his government.
On the debate that's shaping up on the Growth and Stability Pact and relaxing some of the measures there and maybe keeping some of the relaxations that were in place from the pandemic, where does Ireland fit on that debate?
So Ireland is generally supportive of the proposals that have been made by the European Commission. We believe that there should be strengthened coordination of fiscal policy across the European Union, and that there is a need for recognition of the individual country specific circumstances. And so we are open to changes from the Stability and Growth Pact. Ireland as a country has a surplus at this point in time, a very low debt to GDP ratio, though of course we use debt to GNI as a more accurate underlying measure of the Irish position. So we are generally positively disposed to the Commission's proposals, but we'll engage with colleagues, and we do recognise that there are concerns among some member states.
Just on the cost of living issue at home, I understand there are going to be discussions this week on how the government intends to deal with the cost of living issue in terms of benefits and credits and so on. What way do you think that discussion is going to go?
There will be a discussion on Thursday of this week at the Economic Cabinet Committee, and myself and a number of other ministers will also have direct engagement with the party leaders, but I do expect it will be next week before final decisions are taken, and depending on the outcome of those discussions, there may be a need for financial resolutions to be brought before the House next week to give effect to those decisions. From my perspective as Minister for Finance, it's important that whatever we do is affordable, that we manage taxpayers' money well, that we make decisions to get the best possible result from the use of public money, and that whatever decisions we make in the next week or so represent the final intervention in advance of the next budget in the autumn. I think it's important that we manage the resources of the country well, and we do so in a carefully considered and a structured manner. And so this is an important set of decisions that we have to make. We do want to see inflation continue to fall. We are making progress in that regard. We acknowledge that there are pressures on households and indeed on businesses, and Minister Donoghue and I had a very good engagement last evening with the representatives from the tourism and hospitality sector representing all parts of the country, just to hear their perspective on their industry, on the tax decision that we have to make, but also to get feedback from them on the business energy support scheme. So it was particularly helpful.
On that meeting last night, do you expect the 9% VAT rate for the hospitality sector to stay?
That's a decision that has yet to be made. So the decision that was made last year in the budget was that it would end at the end of February, along with a range of other measures. So we have a set of decisions, including other taxation items, VAT on gas and electricity, household bills, also excise reductions on petrol and diesel, and the business energy support scheme. And there may be other proposals that government will wish to consider. So we have to look at it in the round about what the overall cost of the package is, to make sure that it is affordable for the country, that it represents the best and most efficient use of taxpayers' money, and that it represents the final intervention before the next budget. So those will be the criteria that I will be using when considering the proposals that we have to discuss in the coming days. But we had a good meeting last evening with a number of strands from the tourism and hospitality sector representing all parts of the country. They outlined from their perspective the value of the VAT reduction. They also gave their practical feedback on the operation of the business energy support scheme, and now we'll consider all of those contributions in the mix when we're making decisions in the days ahead.
And instinctively, do you think it is affordable?
Well, it's about the overall package, and there are a number of different strands to that, but it's important that we manage the public finances carefully, that we use taxpayers' money with the best effect possible, and that we're not making new interventions every couple of months. So it's important we get this right in the next week or so, and that it does represent then the final intervention before the budget in the autumn. So we'll give it the time and the consideration that it deserves. We'll recognise the importance of these issues for ordinary people all over Ireland, and indeed for businesses as well, many of whom are grappling with increased costs at this time. So we'll do the very best we can to make the right decisions, and we'll be confirming those in the next week or so.
Thanks very much.
Thanks, Tony. Thanks very much.